Hello there. Today I'm fortunate enough to be in Pauillac, where I'm doing some tasting of en-primeur samples from estates owned by the Casteja family. And here's an estate that I think deserves a little more recognition. This is Haut-Bages Monpelou. It's a Cru Bourgeois estate in Pauillac. And what I didn't realise was that many years ago, this vineyard was part of the class growth Duhart-Milon. And when the Borie family sold Duhart-Milon, this was something that was retained by part of the family. So I believe the Castejas family's ancestors have owned this since sometime in the 1700s. Being a Pauillac, the estate is predominantly Cabernet Sauvignon. I believe this blend is 75% Cabernet Sauvignon. There are tiny touches of Cabernet Franc, 3%, Petit Verdot, 1%, and the remaining 21% is made up of Merlot. I think the approach the Casteja family used in 2024 was to try and make sure the fruit was as ripe as possible, and then to use selection to get rid of any fruit that was affected by rot, was damaged, or was underripe. So selection went on both in the vineyard and at the winery once the fruit had been destemmed. I'm assuming using optical sorters as well. So I'm told that led to the rejection of nearly 20% of what was harvested. The other approach used was to try and make sure that fermentation temperatures didn't get too high, to ensure that that there was quite a gentle extraction of tannins and that wines didn't become too astringent. And I will say there certainly seems to have been a mellowness in the wines from 2024 I've tried so far. So let's have a look at this, shall we? First of all, there's an impressive depth of colour. I mean, this is a black ruby with a vivid purple rim. It's virtually opaque. Swelling it, the wines here all seem to have about 13.5% alcohol. It's clinging to the glass fairly readily. I'd suggest that's a result of fairly good tannin levels and good ripe fruit with a touch of glycerol in it. So let's have a look at the aromas and see what we make of it. The aromas give a lovely, ripe, juicy, red to black fruit. This makes me think of dark black cherries. There's a sort of a slight high-toned volatility there, almost a sort of a raisin or prune note, suggesting some nice high ripeness in the fruit when it was picked. So let's have a taste, shall we? In some ways, the opulence of the nose, those sort of bursting, juicy, dark fruit, becomes a much more savoury note on the palate, where the tannins are providing some sort of coffee-ish, slightly cedary grip on the mid-palate. There's an almost graphite-like smoothness, and yet there's nice acidity. There aren't leafy, unripe notes, but it's providing a juicy, black fruit on the edges of this sort of licoricey, graphite, dark core that the wine has. The tannins have a grainy nature and a grip, but they're not astringent. Actually, what they're giving is a relatively long finish. Alcohol is balanced. It's perhaps just helping to peak up just the slightest hints of nutmeg and cinnamon on the finish from the time that the wine's spent in oak, probably about four months so far. And actually the acidity is sufficiently fresh that my mouth's still watering, I'm still salivating, and it's giving some nice length to the finish. All those graphite notes I'm talking about, to an extent, the wine is a little closed up at the moment. But the finish is long and structured, and there is this lovely mouth-watering nature to the finish where it's still showing off its juicy black fruit. Pauillac is an area where it's quite difficult to find value for money wines. Most of the smaller estates have been bought up and have become part of the larger, grander chateaus. The wine's got good structure, it's got good concentration, it's a little reticent, but with a couple of years the fruit should open, there's a mellowness to its style, and I suspect that for mid-term drinking, provided it's well priced, this is the kind of wine that could be a very good option to consider purchasing for more regular drinking. So thank you so much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, do please press the like button. If you'd like to watch more of these videos, do please sign up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you want to do that, you can also set yourself a notification and be alerted every time we publish a new video. If you have any comments, please pop those in the comments box below. We'd love to hear what you think about the wines we're looking at, the tastings we're doing, or anything else that relates to. I will leave a link below to the Wine Searcher webpage for this vintage of this wine, and then you can see, once the wine's been released, what prices it's at and where it's available to buy. Thank you so much for watching. I will be in Bordeaux for another couple of weeks, so there will be more of these videos to follow. So do join me on my adventures, won't you? And hopefully we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.